again in grade 11 economics. So we have completed chapter 5, we have completed till measures of central tendency, and we are moving into what? Measures of dispersion. So we are going to chapter 6, which is going to be measures of dispersion. Now this, what are we going to do? What is measures of dispersion? Let us first recall what is meant by measures of central tendency. So finding, a representative value, real observations or set of observations to know the representative values of that, we use the measures of central tendency. It is actually the numerical method of explaining the data. In other words, it is a numerical method. So far we had the diagrammatic representation, graphical representation and everything. Now we are moving on to the numerical method. Isn't it, children? We are moving on to the numerical method of explaining the given data. Now we have to explain through various measures of central tendency like the arithmetic mean, then we had the median and mode. This the maximum use panra measures of central tendency. Right? We still have harmonic mean and weighted arithmetic mean, but we are not going much into that as of now. We spoke about arithmetic mean, we spoke about median, we spoke about mode. Right? These are the three measures of central tendency. Out of these, arithmetic mean is the most commonly used measure of central tendency. Like it finds the average or a large set of observation you find the average of it. So average, where and all you use this average, where and all you use this arithmetic mean. When you want to know the aggregate marks, the average marks scored by a student in an examination, the average income of a family or of a person, the average attendance, right? The average attendance of a student or an employee, right? In the month, the average rainfall, the average loss, the average profit, all these things we speak about arithmetic mean, right? Then we moved on to median. So what is a median? Actually, it is a mid value. Why do we have the mid value? Median because we need to have two equal parts. One part, when you have two equal parts, one part will be greater than the median and one part will be lesser than the median. So what it is, children? One part will be greater than the median. If 20 is the median, less than 20 will be one part, more than 20 will be another part. Right, children? So that is how you handle it. That is dividing into two equal parts is median. Median or the related quartiles and percentiles. What is meant by a quartile? Quartile is dividing the data into four equal parts. Okay, to making it easily understandable, we are using it in four equal parts like Q1, Q2, Q3. That is less than 25%, less than 50%, less than 75% we saw. So in that, this Q1, Q3, that aggregates the maximum number of values. The mid values are in Q1 and between Q1 and Q3 we saw. That is 50% of data comes under what? Q1 and Q3 is what we have discussed. What is a percentile? When we divide the observation into 100 equal parts, then it is percentage. Percentage, we decided about the mark, 82% of marks when the example is given. That is from when you divide it into 100, you have a thing called percentile. Okay, how many parts you get, benefit or demerit or how many percentage of marks. There you use a thing called percentile. Right, children? What else? Where are we going next? We moved on to mode. Right, mode is a word that is derived from the French word la mode. Right, it is a word derived from the French word la mode, which is like the most number of times used, the frequency, which the highest frequency, the variable with the highest frequency is supposed to be the mode of something, of a set of data. continuous இருக்கணும், எப்படி discrete series எப்படி கண்டுபிடிக்கணும். So even in arithmetic we had various methods and various formulas. So at the end of chapter 5, what I want you to do in your classwork, as I always ask you to do, you draw the concept map or the mind map. Okay, and along with that I want you to do what? I want you to have these formulas, important formulas of that particular chapter should be there. Okay, these important chapters should be in that classwork note. Right? So at a glance you can easily see. Now what are we going to discuss? We are going to talk about measures of dispersion. What are these? These are also some measures. Measures of central tendency gives you the average and value and the variable with the most number of frequency we saw. What is this dispersion? It shows the differences because we will not know the differences between each value. Yes, we know the aggregate marks. எல்லாரோட marks 10 students இருக்காங்கன்னா 10 students ஓட marks நமக்கு தெரியும். ஓகே, ஆனா எல்லாரும் இதே மாதிரி தான் எடுத்துக்காங்களா? எல்லாரோட டிஃபரன்ஸ் என்ன? ஒரு மார்க்குக்கும் இன்னொரு மார்க்குக்கும் எவ்வளோ டிஃபரன்ஷியேஷன் இருக்கு? லைக் க்ளோஸ் கால் எல்லாரும் 1 மார்க் டிஃபரன்ஸா இல்லை ஹையஸ்ட் ரேஞ்ச்? நம்ம ஏற்கனவே டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணோம் that average can change when there are large values at the beginning or at the end. It can influence this, that we have discussed. Median does not mind actually about it, and mode also does not mind about the differences between each. Right? For example, when you are talking about the expenditures done by someone, okay, for what we are spending is different. Now you have 3 of your friends are there. Okay, so you are planning U, A, B, C. 3 of you are there. Okay, and your expenditures for something is what we are going to talk. So first thing, you are spending for some chocolates. Okay, this person has spent 50 rupees for chocolate. This person has spent 25 rupees for chocolate. This person has spent 15 rupees for chocolate. And how much you all have? You have 100 rupees. All 3 of you have 100 rupees each. For chocolate he has spent 50 rupees. And then here if you take this person for ice cream has spent some 25 rupees. This person has spent 35 rupees. And this person likes ice cream a lot, so has spent some 50 rupees. Then we move on to talk about, chat items for eating. He has spent 25. Here, this person has spent 25 plus 35, 65. 35 rupees, and this person has spent somewhere around 25 rupees. 50, 25 is 75, 75 is 50, 90. So how much money he has still? 10 rupees, which is a saving. Here 35, 35 is 70, right? 70 plus 25, 95, remaining 5 rupees he has. 25, 25, 50, 50 plus 50, 100, no savings here. Now, each one of them had 100, right? The spending changes, the way they have spent is changed, right? They can spend for one more item, right? They can spend for one more item. Say for example, they are buying balloons, okay? They are buying balloons. This person didn't buy anything. This person has bought for 5 rupees. This person has bought for 10 rupees. So all of them are 100. Okay, but with this 100 rupees, C has brought 4 things, right? B has bought 4 things. C has bought only 3 things. So this 100, when you find the arithmetic mean, what does the arithmetic mean, children? Sigma x by n. So 100 by 4 by 4 here. 25 rupees is a change. Okay? That is each one has spent 25 rupees per commodity, per thing that they bought. Chocolate 25, ice cream 25, chat 25, balloons 25. That's what we understand. Through measures of central tendency, we will not know what is the difference in the amount they have spent. ஒரே விஷயத்துக்கு வேற வேற மாதிரி ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. அந்த ஆவரேஜ் அமௌண்ட் கிடையாது. அதுக்கு மேலேயும் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணிருக்கலாம், அதுக்கு கீழேயும் ஸ்பெண்ட் பண்ணிருக்கலாம். Right children, it differs. And finding this difference, understanding this difference is what we are going to do through measures of dispersion. So here we have an example, okay, where the family incomes are given. Let us take that example also to understand the difference. Okay, to understand the difference of what we are talking about. This is one example, simple example. Whereas we have this book example, I want to explain that also. So we have three friends, right? Ram, Rahim and Maria. We have three friends and we tell only A, B and C. Right children? So how many members of family? How many members are there and what are they earning is what we have seen. The maximum members in the family was 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Done children? So first member of Ram's family is earning 12,000. Here what kind of data have you got children? The example that they have given is a textual data. Right? What they have given you? Textual data. What is that? You need to read the entire paragraph to understand the data. That data we have put it in what form? Tabular form. Right? But the data given is in textual form. So let us read it and understand. Three friends, Ram, Rahim and Maria, are chatting over a cup of tea. During the course of their conversation, they start talking about their family incomes. Ram tells them that there are 4 members in his family. So how many members he has? 4 members in his family, and the average income per member is rupees 15,000. So what is the average income of the family per person's income is 15,000. Rahim says that the average income is the same in this family. But what happens? The number of members is 6. Imagine everybody's average income we are going to talk about. Okay? For Ram, there are 4 members, and what is the average income? 15,000. Rahim's family has 6 members, and what is the average income? 15,000. Right. And what does Maria say? Maria says that there are 5 members in her family, out of which one is not working. Okay, totally how many members are there? 5 members, but one is not working there. So 4 working members are there in her family, and she also finds that the average income is 15,000. How can it be? In a family where 4 working members are there, their also average income 15,000. In a family where 6 members are working, their also average income 15,000. In a family where this, 5 members are there and one is not working, there also you have 15,000 average income. With this data, okay, they go into the details and then they come to this tabular form discussing about each one's income, whatever they are earning. So what did Ram say? He said one of them is earning 12,000, another member 14,000, another member 16,000, another member 18,000. There is no 5th member, there is no 6th member. So the total is 60,000. Right. So 60 divided by 4 gives you an average of what? 15,000. We have just done what? 4 members income we have taken. We have added it. Right children? And then we divided by the number of members in the family. Right? 15,000. Now talking about Rahim's family. What did Rahim's family say? He said one of the family members is earning 7,000. Another member is earning 10,000. Another member is earning 14,000. Another member is earning 17,000. Another member is earning 20,000. Another member is earning 22,000. And what is the total amount that they are earning? 90,000. So if you compare total income, Rahim's family earns more, 30,000 they earn more than Ram's family, right? But what happens here? The average income remains same. Every average income same because the number of members here is more. Rahim family 2 extra members. That is why the average income remains the same. Talking about Maria's family, one person is not earning, another person is earning 7,000, another person is earning 8,000, another person is earning 10,000, another person is earning 50,000. So when you again have a total of 60 plus 15, right? You have 75,000 divided by what? 5 members. Same number of members in the family you should say. So it is 15,000 again. Now what we have to see, using the measures of central tendency, we just get 3 equal arithmetic means, 3 equal average incomes, but they are entirely different. Average income same, their family positions are different. There is a difference in the income they are earning. When we compare Ram's family, we don't have a maximum difference, just 2,000 difference between each. Right, each member's income. Talking about Rahim's family, if you see there is a difference like 3,000, 4,000, okay, 3 to 4,000, 2,000, up to the difference. But when you come to Maria's family, one person, the lowest income that they earn is 7,000, the highest income that they earn is 50,000. One person is earning more in the family, that's why you get it. So, idea 7, 8, 10, 12, you won't get this average. Yeah, that's what we have discussed already. Arithmetic mean has an ability, okay, to change, to have an impact in its answer when it has huge values at any corner, any end. It is going to affect what? It is going to have an impact on the arithmetic mean. Right, children? That is what we have discussed through arithmetic mean. Now, to know these differences between these, to know the spread of values, you need to know what? The measures of dispersion. Now, you understood why we are going into measures of dispersion? To know about the variability of the data, how it is different. This is different, this is different, this is different. The differences between each set of data itself is different. So to know about, to understand this variability only, we are going to discuss about the measures of dispersion, because central tendency did not worry about the variability of data. Okay? It did not worry about the variability of data. That's why we are moving to another measure called measures of dispersion. Right, children? So why do we have it? To quantify the variability of data, and then to know the spread of values in the data. Okay? How it is spread? From 7,000 to 20,000 there is a difference. No. That also we should know. To know the spread of values. To know what? To know the spread of values. What are we going to use? We are going to use the measures central tendency. Sorry, measures of dispersion. I'm really sorry. So it tells you the quantum of variation in value. What does it tell? How it is differ. What are the values there? So it tells you the quantum of variation. Quantify the variability only. Otherwise you are saying quantum of variations. How much it differs in numbers. Okay, quantum of variations. Done, children? So a measure of dispersion can tell you about what? Income and inequalities. One family earns 15,000 per month, family itself. Another family earns 1,50,000 rupees per month. But when you calculate the average income of a particular city or a country, national income accounting, you take the average only. You don't find what are the differences there. Okay, why one family is earning very low when one family earns very less. So measures of dispersion help you to do what? To understand the income inequalities. To understand the income inequalities, thereby improving the understanding of the relative standards of living enjoyed by different strata of society. So when we know about the income differentiation, ஏன் ஒருத்தர் கம்மியா வாங்குறாங்க ஒருத்தர் ஹையா வாங்குறாங்க, if you see all the subsidies, all the facilities, all the freebies that are given to our country's people are given based on their income standard, right? Not given to everybody. In the income bracket க்கு கீழ இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு தான் நம்ம government help பண்ண try பண்றாங்க. So how do they find it? Through these measures of dispersion, which tells you the income inequalities. Right, children? So dispersion is the extent of what? To which values in a distribution differ from the average of the distribution. It is the extent to which what? Values of an expression, okay, or a set of observation or a distribution, values of a distribution differs from its average. How are we going to find it? Fine, we understand. Measures of dispersion tells you about the differences between the values of the distribution. Fine, we understand that point. But how do you actually find it? How do you actually find this difference to which values of a distribution differs from its average? நம்ம பார்த்தோம் average income வந்து 15,000 இருந்துச்சு. But Maria's family, one person is earning 15,000. So the average is 15, but the actual value is 15,000. There's a huge difference there. And one person is earning 7,000. What is an average income? A representative value. What do we understand by that? We think that every member in the family earns 15,000. That's our perception done over with measures of central tendency. But do you think everybody actually earns 15,000? அது மட்டும் தான் earn பண்றாங்களா? No, it's up or low, right? Above or below, isn't it, children? So that is why what are we going to do? We are just going to use various techniques, just like how in measures of central tendency we had arithmetic mean, median and mode. Similarly, here we are going to have certain measures which we are going to discuss. Unfortunately, some of these are in deleted portions, but still I am going to teach it. Okay, what does it basically mean? We'll not go deep into it. We'll just know what are the measures of the dispersion. Just a gist. Okay, just a gist, you know about it. Okay, just for your knowledge sake, we are not going to go much deeper into it, but we will know what it is. Right, children? So what are the various dispersion, we actually have four measures of dispersion. Okay, first one is called the range, second one is called quartile deviation. Do you remember quartiles? Quartile deviation. Then we have mean deviation, and we have standard deviation. Right children, what do we have? We have range, quartile deviation, mean deviation, standard deviation. These are the four measures of dispersion we have. Out of this, range is in dilated portion, quartile deviation dilated portion, mean deviation dilated portion. We are going to discuss standard deviation in detail. Now, range and quartile deviation measures the dispersion by calculating the spread. Okay, what does it do? These both calculate the spread. Spread na engella paravi irukku. Okay, from where the values are spread is what we find through what? Range and quartile deviation. Mean deviation and standard deviation, they calculate the extent. To calculate the extent to which values of a distribution differ from its average, that is found by the mean deviation and standard deviation. What do they find, children? The difference between values and average. Right children? So what is going to be the work of range and quartile deviation? They are going to find just the spread, okay, where the values lie. Just like median. What did we see about quartile deviation? Quartiles means what? Dividing the distribution of the observation into how many parts? 4 equal parts. So where it is spread? Is it in the first quartile? Is it in the second quartile? Is it in the third quartile or the fourth quartile? That is quartile deviation. Range is very simple. You just have to take and detect the lowest value. Okay? Highest value minus the lowest value is what? Is the range. It's very simple to understand. So measures based upon spread of values is what first we are going to just quickly go through. Okay? So we use measures of dispersion for what, children? For understanding the variations. To understand the quantum of variations in the data, in the frequency distribution or in the distribution that we have. Right children? So measures of dispersion, okay, based on spread. Measures based on spread of values. What are we going to do? Range. Range is marked by R. And how do you find R? You have to just take the largest value and smallest value and deduct it. That's the range. Very simple. So higher value of a range implies the higher dispersion and lower value, the smallest value, mentions the smallest value in the dispersion. So for example, in the income example that we have seen, the highest income value was 50,000. The lowest value given was 7,000. So your range is 43,000. That's it. Very simple. Okay, your spread is that's it. Okay, what does it say? Notwithstanding some limitations, range is understood and used frequently. Because of its simplicity, it's very easy for us to know what? Just detecting. It's a very easy method to find the spread of values. Where and all we use, like temperatures of different cities, highest and lowest we see. We see what? Highest and lowest. So we see the mid value of where the temperature actually lies. So say for in Chennai we had the highest temperature, in Ooty we had the lowest temperature. Chennai we had somewhere around 37 degrees Celsius. Ooty we had around 19 degrees Celsius or 17 degrees Celsius. So what is the range there? 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's it. So we need to find the temperature variation. So where it was lying? 20 within this only the variations are lying is what we are going to just understand. Open-ended distributions are those in which either the lower limit or the lowest class or the upper limit of the highest class or both are not specified. Below, above, look Rapo, you don't have any a limit where you don't have a lower class limit and the upper class limit. So you cannot obviously go for what? The largest value minus the smallest value. So for open-ended, it is very difficult to find it. What is the activity they have given? Collect data about 52-week high or low shares of 10 companies from a newspaper and calculate the range of share prices. You can try it just to go with a range. But again I am telling it's a deleted question. For knowledge purpose we are dealing with this. Okay. At this end of the session I want to solve a problem. Okay, I am just going to give you a hint of the problem that is given in page number 72. Exercise sum of chapter 5 measures of central tendency. Finding a missing value is there, right? Arithmetic mean is given. You have to find the missing value. So I am going to do only that part. Okay. I hope you are doing all the sums. If you have doubts, yes of course, feel free to reach me out. Quartile deviation. How are you going to find the quartile deviation? So how did we find Q1, Q2, Q3? What did we have? 3 quartiles. Q1, Q2 and Q3. Isn't it, children? So those are the quartiles. Quartile deviation. What are we going to do with this quartile deviation? So one extreme high or low value in a distribution can reduce the utility. So we saw that arithmetic mean can be influenced by one extreme value down or up. In the lowest or highest value it can differentiate the range. Right. So if you have somewhere around an income status, if you saw every income, there was like 7, 10, 12, 20 like that, fine. 22, till 22 it was coming up in 2s or 3,000s. But all of a sudden it went to where? 50,000. That's an extreme value. On the one extreme value, range என்ன ஆயிடுச்சு 43,000 வந்தது. But range என்னவா இருந்திருக்கும் actually நமக்கு 50 தவிர்த்து அதை தவிர்த்து இன்னொரு largest value வந்து 22 தான். 22,000 க்கு அப்புறம் directly we had 52,000. So when you deduct only this instead of 50, if you have 22,000 minus 7,000, what value do you get? See the difference in the range. 15,000 the range irundhirukom, but just because of one value, one extreme value at the corner, highest corner one extreme value wala, we had a huge change in the range. That is why we go into the next measure of dispersion, which is called what, children? Quartile deviation. So it is divided into 4 equal parts. How many equal parts? 4 equal parts. And what are those? We have Q1, that is what? It is below 25. Then Q2, we have below 50. Q3, below 75. Below 25 means above how much value will be there? Above will be 75. Here above will be 50. Here above will be 25. Okay, for example, 100 marks. We are keeping 100 marks. How many students have taken below 25? Okay? How many students have taken below 50? How many students have taken below 75? Other way if you see, how many have taken above 25? Above 50? Above 75. Okay? The percentage differs. Just like finding the less than OBF and more than OBF, we have the cumulative frequency. Less than cumulative frequency, more than cumulative frequency. Like that. Now if you see this children, most of the values, the median values lies there between Q3 and Q1 only. We'll have the more than 50%, about 50% of data will be here. And what is it? It is called the interquartile range. Okay, it's called the interquartile range. Right children, the upper and lower quartiles. Which is the upper quartile? Q3, lower quartile Q1. We saw that largest minus the smallest. So upper quartile minus the smallest quartile, or the lowest quartile will give you what? Interquartile range. So how do you find the quartile deviation? It's very simple. Just you take this range, okay? Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2 gives you what? Your quartile deviation. Okay? Done? Okay, there is an example which you are just going to see how it has worked out. They have calculated both range as well as they have calculated the quartile deviation also. I want you to go through both the examples. Example 1 and example 2. Just look into it, how they have worked out, just for knowledge purpose. Okay? And then the next class, we'll just quickly see what is meant by mean deviation. Then we'll move on to standard deviation to discuss in detail about the standard deviation and how to calculate that. So, range and quartile deviation talks about what? The spread of the values. இல்லையா எந்த இடத்துல value spread ஆகுதுன்னு பார்க்கிறது தான் range and quartile deviation. What are the next two? Mean deviation and standard deviation. For what? For finding the difference between the values and the average. Average க்கு original values க்கு எவ்வளோ differentiation இருக்குன்னு பார்க்கிறது தான் we are going to use mean deviation and standard deviation. Clear children? Now I want to do the problem which is on page number 72. Take your classwork note. Okay? We'll quickly do that problem. If you have already completed it, just see how you have done, whether it is right. Okay? It's an exercise problem. Just because we didn't deal with missing numbers, we didn't see an example with missing numbers, I'm calculating this, showing you how to do it. It's just how we have done in maths. Okay? Nothing different, nothing new. But simply, I want to make sure that you are working out the problem clearly. What is it, children? It is actually chapter 5, exercise number 4. Page number 72. Page number 72. Chapter 5, exercise problem 4. What they have given you? They have given you that the arithmetic mean is 28. They have given you the arithmetic mean. Usually, you will get the values and you need to find the arithmetic mean, median, mode, everything. But here, they have given you the arithmetic mean as 28. They want you to find the missing value and they want you to find the median. So, what are the values that we have? Profit per retail shop and number of retail shops is what we have. So, we are going to have X and F. It is what series? Continuous or discrete? Continuous series. So, what is the arithmetic formula going to be for us? Whichever method we are going to use. Which method shall we use? Since the values are, okay, they are not much, they are less only. So, you can use any value. We can go with sigma fm. Okay. answer. Let's take this value which is equal to 28. Now we have to find the rest of the things. So we have x, we have f, we have to find m, and we have to find fn. These are the values we have to. So what are the x values given? We have 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, till 60 we have 50 to 60 you have, and then 0 to 10. What is the value of it? 12, 18, 27. For 30 to 40 what they have given? They have not given. So usually they'll have it as x. Okay? Don't get confused. This is capital X, this is small x. Okay? Or if you want to keep it as a, fine, no issues. 40 to 50 we'll have 76. What do you have to find next, children? The mid value. So upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. 0 plus 10 by 2, 5. 10 plus 20, 30. 30 by 2, 15. So like that we get 15, 20. What happens here? 25, 35, 45, 50. You can use a calculator, children. No, if you want to go with the assumed mean method or the standard deviation method, fine. But as of now, I am just going to use a calculator and I am going to finish this problem. Okay. So you can also do similarly. Here's my calculator. So what are we going to do? Fm. This 12 into 5 is 60. Right, children? What is 12 into 5? 60. Then we have 18 into 5. We have 90. Then we have 27 into 25. We have 675. X into 35, we'll keep it as 35x. What will we keep it as? 35x. Then we have 17 plus 45. Sorry, 17 into 45, right, children? So we're going to have 17 into 45. We have 765. 6 into 50, we have 300. So what are we going to do? We are going to add it. How we are going to add it? This 35x alone, keep it separately. Plus 35x. You keep that separately. Add the remaining things. Okay? Add the remaining values. What are the remaining values you have? You have 60 plus 90 plus 675 plus 765 plus 300 okay, how many values do you have? 5 values. How many values, children? You have 5 values, right? So if please do use a calculator for the calculations. You can use assumed mean method or you can use step deviation method also. So 12 into 5 you get 60. There was a small change, children. Please correct it. 18 into 15 you get 270. 27 into 25 you get 675. Then x into 35 you have it as 35x. 17 into 45 you get 765. And then 6 into 55, right? Not 50. 55 you get 330. When you total it, you get a value of 2100, right? And then what else you want? You want sigma f, right? You want what? Sigma f. And how much it is going to be? If you leave this x, you have to take it away plus x because you don't know the value of x. You can't keep it in multiplication also. So you have to take it away plus x. So when you total it, you get a value of 80. So what is your value? 80 plus x, and you have 2100 plus 35x. Right children? So what are we going to do here? We are going to calculate the same value. We are going to substitute this. What is your sigma FM? So you know your AM, that is 28. Your sigma FM is 2100 plus 35x by, what is your sigma F? 80 plus x. Right? You need to bring it to this side, isn't it children? So 28 into 80 plus x is equal to 2100 plus 35x. So when you multiply this 28 into 80, you will get a value of 2240 plus 28 into x. 28x is equal to 2100 plus 35x. Now what you have to do? You have to bring x values to one side and you have to take these numerical values to one side. So 35x minus 28x, because when you bring it to this side it will become minus, isn't it? 28x comes here in minus value, 2100 comes here in minus value. So we will put it in this way. For your understanding, we will bring 2100 here. 2240 minus 2100 is equal to 35x. This 28 comes there, minus 28x. So what do you get? Shall I calculate? Can you see the board till the bottom? Okay, I'll calculate. Yeah, okay. After this, when you deduct it, you get a value of what? 140 is equal to 35x minus 28x. You have a value of 7x. That is 7x is equal to 140. That means x is equal to what? 140 by 7. So your x is 20. What is the missing frequency, children? You have a missing frequency of 20. Right? So what is your missing frequency? 20. With this, can you go with the next step? That is finding the median. How will you find median? Instead of this x, what will you have? You will have a value of 20 now. And instead of M and F1, you have to go for what? Cumulative frequency. Isn't it, children? And you have calculated the x value. Now you are going to go into the median formula. So what will be your sigma F now? 80 plus 20 will become 100. Right, children? So median, first you need n by 2. What is it going to be? 100 by 2. It's going to be 50. What is your median value? L plus n by 2 minus CF by F into H. Okay? Well, which is your 50 value? For that, you need to find the cumulative frequency. What is the cumulative frequency? 12. 12 plus 80, 30. 30 plus 57, 30 plus 27, 57. 57 plus 20, 77. 77 plus 70, 94. 94 plus 6, 100. What is your value? 50. Which is your median class? 20 to 30. What is your lower class limit? 20 plus, what is your n by 2? 50 minus, what is the cumulative frequency of the previous class? 30 by, what is the frequency of the present class? Median class? 27 into, what is the difference? 10. So when you calculate this, you will get the answer of 27.41. That is going to be your median. Right, children? I hope you have understood the problem. Try to work it up again. Just see how it is worked out. Okay? And if at all you have any doubts in this particular problem, please let me know. Right, children? Thank you and may all have a good day today.